the topic for today's stream is the F.M.C.S.A. Safety First, ? So this is a good F.M.C.S.A. day. We'll talk about all things F.M.C.S.A. But I wanted to note that they've finished appointing their driver panel, and I'm kind of excited about this because I think it's a great idea. I hope they actually listen to these drivers and do something with the information that the drivers give to these bureaucrats, because these guys are bureaucrats. They really don't know anything about trucking. Now, this guy, Wiley Deck, that's the new head of the F.M.C.S.A., apparently he's a fairly astute fellow. I believe it was his idea to implement this driver panel in the first place, so he's already gone up in my estimation over the last few that have been there. So let's see. I'd like to know from you guys here today, now that we've got this driver panel on the F.M.C.S.A., what would you like to see them push for change with the F.M.C.S.A.? What would you like to see them submit? What are the problems in your minds that you think this driver panel can bring forward to the F.M.C.S.A., hopefully with some positive results? That's the type of thing I'm looking for today, because I want to know, and I've got a whole bunch of suggestions for that drivers panel. I'm hoping, I know they'll implement or put forward a bunch of good stuff, because there's so much to say. There's so many areas that the F.M.C.S.A. needs to start listening to the truck drivers more. And by truck drivers, I don't mean the ATA. The ATA has had the F.M.C.S.A.'s ear for far too long, and they're the only people, aside from the other bureaucrats, that the F.M.C.S.A. has really listened to. And that's not really fair, because the ATA doesn't represent truck drivers. The ATA represents company owners. And I'm interested in what the drivers think and what the drivers want to see from the F.M.C.S.A. What changes? What would you like to see them suggest to the F.M.C.S.A.? I got a whole list of things I'd like to see. And the first thing is, a whole lot of flexibility is needed in the hours of service rules. And I propose, for instance, that if you're 2 hours or less from your final destination, like if you're an hour and a half from home and you run out of hours, you should be able to take it the rest of the way home. Or if you're an hour and a half from the terminal, you should be able to take it back to the terminal. I think it's goofy to have to knock off an hour or 45 minutes from the house or from the terminal or something like that. I say propose some leeway in that section of the hours of service, so you can at least take it all the way home, so you can sleep in your own bed rather than an hour from your house in a rest area. That's goofy. There's a change I'd like to see them propose. I'd like to see them propose a 1 hour leeway at the end of the day to be able to find a safe haven. Say if you run out of hours at the shippers, you wait there, finish getting loaded, you're out of hours. I'd like to see them allow a 1 hour window for you to get from the shippers to a safe haven, to a truck stop. So what else do you think? What should these guys, this team, be suggesting to the F.M.C.S.A.? Blake says, paying drivers better so we don't have a shortage anymore. Daniel says, drivers who have been driving for years, from paper logs or electronic logs or things, change from better to worse, and what improvements that just don't work. Yeah, are the ELDs really an improvement? I know they've got some issues. Certainly there are fewer guys these days that are running out of hours, but like I say, there's a complete lack of flexibility in the ELDs, and that's the problem they're having now. I'd like to see them bring that up with the F.M.C.S.A. That's a big problem. Driving Test has developed an online training course that will help you get your ELDT certification and help you pass your CDL knowledge exam. Driving Test is certified by the F.M.C.S.A. and is recognized as the best online driver training program in America. Check them out at drivingtest.org. I think that the F.M.C.S.A. should quit allowing these mega carriers to have these driver trainers with 3 months experience. I don't think the F.M.C.S.A. should even allow that. I don't think they should allow rookie teams. I think if you're going to be a driver trainer, a real driver trainer, you should have at least 7 years experience on the road, not 3 months, because you haven't learned squat in 3 months. And I'd like to see the driver panel introduce that into the F.M.C.S.A. and get rid of some of these practices. These mega carriers are doing some of them are just, they're crazy. Recap, container groove. That's the word I was looking for before. Thank you. But yeah, you can still run a recap log. You don't see guys doing it, I guess now because of the ELDs. But yeah, technically those are still legal. So I'd like to see them propose that they don't have any more of these rookie teams. And something else they're coming up with down the pike here now is they're changing the split sleeper allowance again. Now they're talking about doing 5 and 5 and 6 and 4. And I really don't see what bloody difference it makes as long as you get your 10 hours sleep. So I don't see why you can't just get your 10 hours, whether it's 8 and 2, 9 and 1, 6 and 4, however you do it. I don't see what the split difference is. Just get rid of that as long as everyone gets 10 hours of sleep. At some point, they should be good to go. SoCal Sam, that's a great one, Dave. I didn't know squat after 3 months to be able to train a newbie. SoCal Sam, nobody does. Me either. So that's a crazy practice. They should not allow mega carriers to do that. It's the blind leading the blind. Kathy's right. But the mega carriers it's all money oriented, eh? But the F.M.C.S.A., the S stands for safety, not help the mega carriers. So that's what I propose they concentrate on, is more safety. They're talking again now about growing 53-foot trailers. They want to have 57-foot trailers become legal now. I am not in favor of that. I don't imagine there's a truck driver out there that's in favor of that. These trailers have gotten bigger and bigger over the years, and every time they got bigger, it wasn't because the truck drivers wanted bigger trailers. It was because the shippers and receivers, primarily the auto parts guys, wanted bigger trailers. That's how we ended up in this mess with these 53-foot trailers. So I'd like to see this driver panel input to the F.M.C.S.A. that some of these rules are ridiculous. If safety is their concern, God, there's so many safety issues. Look at these autonomous trucks being experimented with. You know, something else I'd like to see them say to the F.M.C.S.A. is, let's get rid of these low rolling resistance big single tires, because those things are absolutely useless on anything but dead pavement. It's so easy to get stuck or spin out with those tires. I don't think they should be legal. And you don't know where the truck's going to be sent. I'm sure they try to concentrate them in L.A., but it doesn't always happen. I say get rid of them. Daniel Ford says, I've been driving almost 8 years, and I can safely say that I will never feel comfortable training someone because I still don't know how to do everything myself. There's Daniel Ford. He's got 8 years in, and he says, I'm still learning stuff myself. So, and everybody is still for years. It's a constant learning program. You take rookie drivers and stick them on the Eastern Seaboard in that traffic and congestion, and it's a nightmare.
And then let them coach other drivers.
And then let them coach other drivers? That's insane. Half the time they're hiding under the seat. They're so scared anyway. So, and there's something else I don't think you should be allowed to do is have your trainer in the bunk. If you're going to be a trainer, you've got to be in the seat. If you're in the bunk, you're not training. Period.
They're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to. They do it all the time. Werner's been caught for that so many times I can't even believe it. And yet they keep doing it. But I think the F.M.C.S.A. should clamp down a lot harder on these stupid practices that these mega carriers like to do in order to make more money, like 3-month driver trainers and rookie teams and stuff like that. Mega carriers fail to do safely, and they have trailers so tight next to each other, asking to damage trailers next to each other or yourself. Yeah, they like to save room. And then they'll blame the damage on you. It's interesting. Oh, there's something else. There's another mega carrier practice. I'd like to see this driver panel suggest to the F.M.C.S.A., and that is to stop these leasing programs that the carriers use on their drivers, because it's a scam. It's a rip-off system. Half the carriers now are making more money leasing trucks than they are hauling freight. I think the F.M.C.S.A. should step in and say, that's a crooked practice, no more of that. The F.M.C.S.A., the S in F.M.C.S.A., the S stands for safety. And that's supposed to be their primary goal. In fact, their primary mission is, and I wrote it down, reduce crashes, injuries, and fatalities involving trucks and buses. That is their primary mission. And yet you see the F.M.C.S.A. getting into things like lowering driver eyesight standards now. That's the latest one. So how that promotes safety, and they're lowering the standards on the driver's eyesight. So is that improving the safety? No. That's helping the mega carriers with the driver shortage. So they're going to lower the standards. Another instance of the F.M.C.S.A. helping the driver shortage and helping the mega carriers, they're lowering the age level. Lowering the age level at which drivers can run interstate to try to recruit more drivers fresh out of high school. Does that sound like a safety practice to you? Does that sound like I just talked about the eyes, yeah.
That's insane.
And that's insane too, but does that sound like a safety practice? Recruit younger drivers? Does lowering the eyesight standard sound like a safety practice to you? What's the third one? Oh, and here's another new safety practice. The F.M.C.S.A., it used to be that if you had a radar detector or a CB or a box of Kleenex or whatever it was sitting up on the dash, interfering with the windshield, you couldn't have that. You couldn't have anything that interfered with your visibility out the windshield. And that's why some states even got on guys with these drop visors. Canada got on guys with drop visors because they said the visors were too low and they were interfering with the driver's field of vision. However, now the F.M.C.S.A. is going to allow autonomous equipment to be hung in the windshield, right in the windshield, blocking the driver's view so the truck can help learn to navigate the roads as the driver drives. So he's got this screen or this chunk of equipment or this camera blocking his vision over on his passenger side so they can mount this equipment in there to record what's going on out in front of the truck. So how in God's green earth that's a safety practice is beyond me, but it's hugely influenced by the ATA, by the mega carriers, and I think that should not be allowed, and I hope these drivers speak to that with the F.M.C.S.A. and say, hey, let's get back on track here, because some of these practices are crazy. There's nothing safe about them. Stay safe, take care. Be careful out there, the weather's bad. Keep the rubber side down, and we'll see you on the back haul. Good night, everybody.